Good morning, everybody. The time is 10 o'clock. I will call the planning board meeting or the April 24, 2025 planning board meeting to order. Let's work on our technical issue for a second. Who's echoing?
You.
I'll see. I'll fix it real quick.
It's an echo.
Testing, testing. We're good? All right, great. Again, April 24th, the time is 10:02. I'll call the planning board meeting to order. We are joined by our Vice Chair, Ms. Bailey, Commissioner Giraldo.
Good morning.
Madam Chair Shapiro. Please note that the deadline for speaker pre-registration and submission of materials and exhibits was 12 noon on the Tuesday before this planning board meeting, and staff is available for any on-site registration if you require here at our facility. Moving on with today's agenda, I want to start with a commissioner's item, a very exciting commissioner's item. We are proud to announce, and we're going to surprise him, that our very own James Hunt, Deputy Director of Operations for the Planning Department, is the recipient of the 2025 Quality of Life Award from the Maryland Building Industry Association. He was recognized during the MBIA County Legislative Breakfast that we had last Friday in College Park. The Quality of Life Award is given to a person in the public sector who best reflects a genuine interest for the quality of life in Prince George's County and whose leadership qualities foster an atmosphere of partnership within the housing industry. So again, join me in congratulating James on this wonderful occasion.
Great.
Wonderful recognition. And it's time for your 20-minute speech, James. Moving on to the next items on our agenda, item 2, I would look for a motion to approve the draft minutes from our April 17, 2025 planning board meeting.
Motion to approve draft minutes.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Bailey, a second by Commissioner Giraldo with no discussion. I'll call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey. Commissioner Giraldo.
Vote aye.
Vote aye as well. The ayes have it 3-0. There are no legislative items on today's agenda. We'll move on to item 3C. And this is our corporate budget office, fiscal year 25 budget adjustment for the planning department. We have Ms. Charles, who will be giving us a brief presentation, and this is an action item as well. Ms. Charles, you on the line? Oh, there you are. I see you. Okay.
Good morning.
You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you. Take your time. We can give Terry a minute, and then if she needs more technical assistance, we can switch to our next item and come back to this.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Well done. All right. So this is a fiscal year 25 budget adjustment for the planning department, and the floor is yours. Hold on, Terry. We've got some technical issues on our side. Hold on one sec. Are we okay, folks?
She's called.
Oh, so she
So Terry, you're doubled up. So
mute her device.
if you can mute your device so you're just doing the phone call, that's fine.
Oh, her phone's muted.
Yeah, now we can't hear you at all, Terry.
Okay, Chair, can we go to the next item?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we're going to go to the next item. You can work out the technology with Ms. Charles. Item 3D on our agenda is Information Management Division Development Application Review Tracking System. This is DARTS. We have Mr. Canistra and team. If you could introduce everybody. And this is just a briefing, but it's a briefing we are all very much looking forward to. A whole lot of work has gone into this, and we're excited to hear where we are. And take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Shapiro and members of the Planning Board. I'm Jim Canistra, Chief of the Information Management Division, and I'm joined today by my colleague from the Development Review Division, Jill Kozak. Our objective today is to provide the Planning Board and anyone listening in or participating an update on an exciting new application we are working on and expect to launch in the coming months. Next slide, please. The Development Application Review Tracking System, which we refer to as DARTS, began with the Planning Department hiring a consultant to look at industry best practices and to define requirements and the steps necessary to implement a state-of-the-art system that allows the Planning Department to accept and review development applications. Following a competitive procurement, Tyler Technologies' EnerGov solution was selected as the implementation or software platform. Some of the key factors that led us to this system are that it's a commercial, off-the-shelf, cloud-based product that's also GIS-centric. It's a workflow-based application, and it provides the tools necessary for submission and tracking of applications online. The technology is tested and used by many county and municipal organizations throughout the country. Next slide, please. The new system will replace our internal custom developed system that we refer to as DAMS. In addition to supporting the review of development applications, the system's also being designed to support increased integration between the Planning Department and DPI, particularly their momentum application that's used for permitting. Lastly, it also supports the recommendations documented in the Prince George's County Regulatory and Land Use Entitlement Process Assessment Report completed about 18 months ago. Next slide, please. Just to give you a bit of context in terms of the size and magnitude of our current system and what the new environment needs to support, we average about 800 cases per year for approvals and have almost 1,100 pending and scheduled cases, many of which you're aware of. There's also approximately 40 different application and case types that are submitted across 2 different zoning ordinances. So we really got a very robust environment for the development and review process. Next slide. Virtually everyone in the department has access to the current DAM system and certainly will have access to the new system, along with others in the Parks Department, as well as the public and development community at large. I mention this to give you an idea that the robustness and complexity of this existing environment in which the new system, DARTS, will support and need to expand upon. With that, I'll turn it over to Jill Kozak to provide a better sense of the look and feel of the new application.
Good morning, Chair Shapiro and members of the Planning Board. If we can go to the next slide, please. So the new DART system will consist of 2 main websites, an external civic access portal, which is seen, an example is seen on the left here, that will be available 24/7 and will allow for applicants to submit applications, pay application fees, and see review progress, as well as allow for citizens to be able to view some project information and documents online. The second is an internal hub site. An example is shown here on the right, where staff can view tasks, see latest assignments, get alerts, and access specific applications to work on. The next slide, please. Here are some of the highlights of what DARTS will do for our development review processes. The image shown here is an example of a workflow for a specific application with indicators relative to the progress, which allows for a clear tracking of the history of the review of a case. The system also provides many automations relative to notification emails, referral assignments, and document generation. Another highlight is the integration of the Bluebeam software, which is a separate software which allows for real-time collaborative plan review for all and markup for all applications. Next slide, please. The activities that have been completed so far by the implementation team include mapping and configuring all of the workflows for the case types and work classes, and then initial validation testing, identifying legacy data for conversion from DAMs to DARTs, and configuring fees, additional info, civic access, and the reports that will be generated. Next slide, please. There are also a variety of activities currently underway that the team is working on, including the final validation testing, integrations and report configuration before moving forward with the conversion of the legacy data, as well as ensuring the citizen experience is clear and understandable. The next steps include final acceptance testing, staff training on the system, as well as public outreach to alert them about the new system and how to access and navigate it. We are on schedule for a rollout in the coming months. Next slide, please. Finally, it is important to recognize the core project team listed here from both the planning department and Tyler Technologies, as well as a consultant working with us. However, there are also many other staff not listed that have provided valuable input and support in completing the many activities to ensure a successful launch. And with that, we thank the planning board for time today to present this exciting project, and we'll open the floor for any questions.
Thank you. Well done, team. Really well done. Colleagues, questions, thoughts, reactions?
No questions, but thank you for the overview. And one of us will need another overview.
I'm with you.
There will be a video that's online to provide instructions for people to
Great.
actually log,
You answered.
create an account.
Right.
Okay.
System.
Thank you.
Will this speed up the review process then? Is that the idea?
Definitely will speed up the application process,
Okay.
as applicants will, again, have that online access to be able to submit at any time that they want to and be able to pay fees. They'll also be able to see a real-time progress of the workflow on the case to see where it's at and what's been done without the need for external emails or phone calls. It'll be more available. So again, aiding in the transparency of the review process. Which hopefully will aid in the speed of the review process.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation.
I have a few quick questions. One is, could you go over again what Bluebeam is? I didn't quite get that.
It's markup software for reviewing plans, basically.
And is it a shared markup? So is that internal to staff, or is that also for the public?
It's internal and external. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Different levels of privileges associated with the internal versus the external users, but yes.
Gotcha. The other thing is, you noted that this will make it easier to integrate with our system and Momentum, the DPI system. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what the next steps are? And how integrated are we now, and how much more do we need to do to get even more integrated?
Well, we've been doing a lot over the past year, 6 months in particular, to integrate and use data that the county has stored in their Momentum system. For example, we now have available and are working with DPI to get their data on a monthly basis to load it into PG Atlas, for example, so that people can click on that. As we're designing the portal, the customer interface that Jill demonstrated, We do have a box to be able to allow the customers to be able to access and click on what DPI has in terms of an application that they call Look-See to allow people to get access with that. So phase one is sort of being able to provide access to that information. And then phase two will provide for more integration as we go forward.
All right.
But we certainly recognize the importance of being able to have an environment that allows people to find out information quickly about any particular development application.
Thank you. The other one, and this may be a question for you, Mr. Hunt, or even Ms. Black, our Chief Communications Officer. I'm thinking about there's rolling this out to the public and the industry so that they understand how to use it. But there's also rolling this out in a public relations way to celebrate this, what is a pretty transformative project for us. And I'm wondering where we are with that and if that's, and who we need to be in communication with around that to make sure that we're, celebrating this.
For the record, James Hunt with the Planning Director's Office. Just want to kind of clarify here. That's a great point. When it comes to this rollout, we are wanting to put this information out there on social media. So staff will be coordinating definitely with Ms. Black and others related to this project because we want to get this information out there so they're aware. Also, any training opportunities, so to speak, and also where the videos that Mr. Canistra was speaking of earlier, make sure that information is out there as well. And also, if anyone from the public that's participating and utilizing this program, if they need some type of, let's say, one-on-one training, whatever needs to take place, we want to be able to provide that as well. So whatever that looks like, we're going to do what we can on this end, but get this out there through all efforts of social media associated with that. And so that's one of the next steps we're going to do because we're going to work on, just like they were saying, getting this, as far as getting some dates together, pushing this information out there and coordinating with them. But I'll turn it over to Ms. Black on some additional site.
Good morning. Calista Black, for the record, Chief Communications Officer in the Prince George's County Planning Board Office. We will be working, in addition to the items that James Hunt described, a more rollout of to include our public engagement when we're out in the community, making sure that we're able to demonstrate and provide step-by-step on how individuals can utilize the system. We will also coordinate with the other partner agencies and elected officials that they can share the information and also use print advertising, online emails, in addition to social media. So it'll be a cohesive, multi-channel outreach that includes also community engagement.
And if I might add, this will be a next stage effort for us to get to a point where when members of the public want to get information about development from us, they don't have to submit a Public Information Act request anymore. They can just go online and be able to pull this information versus staff having to take time and go through that and pull that information. It's going to be an effort for us to plug more information out there so we don't have to deal with that in real time, because that was a major concern that we felt like that we heard back from the community, not just development community, but the residents themselves. They didn't know about informational development. And so this is another next stage effort that we're doing to get ahead of all these different things associated with it. And just like Mr. Canistra and Jill were saying, or Ms. Kosak was saying earlier, is that our efforts to coordinate with DPI are integral to ensuring the success of this program, because we realized there was a disconnect there. And so we're getting that, just like they said, they've started now at this point with the momentum information being placed on PG Atlas. So PG Atlas kind of serves as that middle platform to pull that information together at this point in time. But so we can get that associated and completed right now. But there are future efforts that are going to take place where we even go even further than that and provide more information. This Bluebeam software program is a really big effort as well, because that allows us to have an electronic plan review program out there versus staff having to look at multiple pages and discs and things like that. So we have all that information in real time, so it makes things a lot faster. And this is the first stage, to be honest, of our streamlining efforts that we're going to be working with the county on, with DPI, DPW&T, SHA, all these other agencies in there, to make the process a lot faster and getting people what they need and getting to you all as quickly as they can. So development speeds up versus having to be slowed down with any of the existing processes that we have.
And I want to add one more audience too, is our savvy reporters who are following our development cases. This would also assist with media requests as they're coming in and they're looking for items and they can quickly download the information that they're looking for to help cover the stories of the new development coming into the county and also other items that appear before the planning board. So.
Yeah, and so thank you for all that, by the way. It's great to hear. And I'm thinking, at what point does this become a news story that we've really taken this the next step and, you know, it's solid enough and we roll it out about this isn't just for providing better access for residents. This is also another way to show that we're open for business. It's a way to tell a story about how our business climate is shifting in a positive way, and it can be a way to invite more investment. A story like this, and I just don't know what the right timing is for that, but I don't want to miss that opportunity.
We'll provide you a rollout. We'll collaborate and provide you a preview of a rollout.
And again, the lens for me is not less, because it's incredibly important that we get the word out around this. It's also, how do we sort of tell the story in a celebratory way as well?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
We are joined by Director Hall. I don't know if you have any thoughts, comments, reactions on that, or you're just, I know you have feelings about it, so I want to give you the opportunity.
Good morning. For the record, Lakeisha Hall, Prince George's County Planning Director. It's a pleasure to see all the board members today. Thank you for the team. It's been a lot of work on this effort. We've also been very intentional in coordinating with the County Council. They really want us to be more public facing with our data and our information. We're really excited about the efforts and just the benchmark. And I'm glad that you guys were able to hear what we've been doing behind the scenes. And so there's going to be some rollout internal trainings that we're doing with all the divisions within our department to make sure people know even how to troubleshoot when the public reaches out. So thank you guys so much for your time for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a last thought. At some point, it might be interesting, and I'm not even sure who the audience is beyond us, but it might be interesting to think about a joint briefing with DPI and us, to talk about that integration piece and the steps around that, and that could be another interesting media story as well.
We'll be happy to do that as well, because we've already started having conversations with the DPI technology team on other efforts, and so this will be an opportunity we can kind of bring them in and have that conversation with you all as well.
Yeah, and I even wonder if it could be this may be overreaching, but could this be big enough to be a joint presentation to us and to the county council? Because they're like, to your point, Director Hall, they're incredibly focused on this as well. So
Absolutely, because we recognize there was legislation that did come out, and however, this initiative has addressed that legislation. So to your point, to brief them on that and how the success of this program is going to be important to make sure to provide that feedback to them that this is being resolved and how we're moving forward.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about it, but it's great. Yeah, good work, folks. Really well done. Okay, we'll move back to item 3C in our agenda. I think we have Ms. Terry Bacote-Charles, our budget director. I think she is on the line. Is that correct?
Yes, you called in.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Well done. Okay,
Great.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. And it'll be very brief. I'm before you this morning to request your consideration and approval of a budget transfer request for the planning department. It's in the amount of $163,878. And really the request just involves realignment of budgeted funds within their information management division, which were originally budgeted in several capital outlay accounts. It was $153,878. And what has to occur is those funds need to be moved to the minor equipment account so that they will be in compliance with Finance's controlled asset policy. So the department budgeted those funds to support laptop and tower workstations. So again, we're just realigning the funds to come in accord with Finance's policy. And additionally, the director's office has requested to take $10,000 in office supply savings and apply those funds to cover the food and beverage expense resulting from supporting several key program events this year, including Go Prince George's, Bring Your Child to Work, Data Center Study Task Force meetings, and several other program events. So that concludes my summary of the request. And again, we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Charles. Colleagues, if there are no questions, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I will move that we accept the realignment of funds as proposed by budget by Ms. Charles.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Giraldo, a second by Vice Chair Bailey. With no discussion, I will call the roll. Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 3-0. And thank you, Ms. Charles. And she reminded me that I didn't announce this under our commissioner's announcements, but today is Take Your Child to Work Day. So we're going to see lots of kiddies running around the office, and be sure to say hi and tell them what you do just to annoy them. But I'm looking forward to that after this. We will now move on to our consent agenda items. Anyone from the public or any colleagues who wish to discuss any of the items of the consent agenda? If not, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, at the consideration of the record for items numbers 4A, 4B, and D, and supplemental 4E, I move adoption of the staff findings and approval of these items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice Chair Bailey, a second by Commissioner Giraldo. With no discussion, I'll call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 3-0. And our final item, which is our only regular agenda item, is item 5. This is Community Planning Division preliminary West Hyattsville Queens Chapel sector plan and proposed sectional map amendment and public facilities referral. I don't think we may have somebody who signed up to speak on this.
Yeah.
We got staff. So we don't need to take public comment, but if there's somebody from the public who wishes to speak, I'll certainly allow that. But let's turn to staff. Mr. Lester.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Planning Board. I'm Thomas Lester, the Project Manager in the Master Plans and Studies section of the Community Planning Division, and I'll be walking you through the details of the third draft of the West Hyattsville Queens Chapel Sector Plan and Sectional Map Amendment. Joining me today is Justin Thornton, Deputy Project Manager, as well as Tony Felton, audience, Deputy Planning Director of Administration. The purpose of today's presentation is to request permission to print the third draft of the sector plan and SMA and transmit the draft to the county exec, the applicable municipalities, and the health department, in addition to receiving permission to transmit the public facilities report to the district council, the county exec, and the applicable municipalities. To note, the public facilities report does list the proposed public facilities recommendations that also appear in the draft plan. Next slide, please. Today, I'll first provide a quick background of the project, and then I'll recite the plan vision, then go over the key policies by plan element, in addition to the major changes that have been applied since the second draft. I'll also talk briefly about implementation, as well as changes to the public facilities report. And then lastly, I'll conclude by going over the current schedule and what the next steps in the process are. Next slide, please. In terms of background, here's the timeline of key events for the plan and the SMA, highlighting the important milestones leading up to where we are today. On January 18th of 2022, the County Council officially initiated the sector plan and SMA. By July 28th, 2022, the initial draft sector plan and proposed SMA were released to the public for review and feedback. Shortly after, on October 11th, we held the first joint public hearing. However, on December of 2022, the Planning Board remanded the draft sector plan and proposed SMA back to staff for further revision. From January 2023 to May 2024, the team worked on revising the second draft based on feedback received. And then on October 1st, we held an additional joint public hearing to gather input on the new draft. And then finally, on January 9th of 2025, the Planning Board remanded the draft sector plan and SMA once again for further revisions, which brings us today where we're requesting permission to print. Next slide, please. This slide shows the sector plan and the SMA boundary, which is primarily located within Planning Area 68. The area is entirely within Councilmanic District 2 and includes a portion of the city of Hyattsville, the town of Brentwood, and the city of Mount Rainier. The northern boundary of the area is defined by the Prince George's Plaza Regional Transit District, and the southern boundary abuts Washington, D.C. Additionally, this area surrounds the boundary of the 2006 West Hyattsville Transit District Development Plan. Next slide, please. The plan vision is fundamentally unchanged with only some minor edits. These slides also include some of the illustrative concepts that depict the plan area if the recommendations were to be implemented. The vision for West Hyattsville, Queens Chapel area states that centered around the West Hyattsville Metro Station, West Hyattsville Queens Chapel is a vibrant, resilient, and culturally and socially economically diverse community that embraces the Northwest Branch Stream Valley Park and serves as a gateway to Prince George's County. Next slide. Equity and resiliency are championed by the community while supporting government officials and making policy decisions. Diverse neighborhoods provide multiple housing choices for a range of income levels. Natural resources and open spaces are key in providing additional assets to the community with proximity to parklands. Next slide, please. These parklands serve an ecological function and are programmed for a variety of recreation opportunities that promote wellness. Streets and shared use paths are accessible, comfortable, and safe for all people and all modes of travel. Local businesses are the heartbeat of this community with attractive, lively, and thriving commercial areas and streetscapes that support an entrepreneurial atmosphere and encourage social interactions. Next slide. West Hyattsville Queens Chapel is a transit-oriented community where the public realm and mixed-use areas work together to serve as community hubs for all residents, business owners, and visitors. Next slide. So based on community input from the last joint public hearing, staff were prompted to re-review certain aspects of the plan. This included conducting a comprehensive review of the plan to ensure alignment with recent legislative changes and evolving community needs. In response to HB 538, which took effect January 1st of this year, the plan was reviewed and revised to support efforts in addressing affordable housing shortages. Similarly, updates were made to reflect the changes made to the zoning ordinance by Council Bill 15, 2024, which revised density standards across multiple zones. In addition to legislative review, staff assessed the potential loss of existing naturally occurring affordable housing units and developed strategies aimed at mitigating resident displacement. Lastly, staff reviewed and revised the zoning for single-family detached residential neighborhoods throughout the entire sector plan area. The next several slides outline the policies of the West Hyattsville Queens Chapel sector plan, focusing on 8 of the plan elements. And I will also point out the major changes that have occurred between the second and third draft for the plan element if applicable. Next slide, please. First is land use, the land use element and zoning. The policies aim to create a vibrant and sustainable community around the West Hyattsville Metro Station, offering a mix of land uses at transit-oriented densities while incorporating best management practices for sensitive natural areas. Next slide. This slide highlights a major change to the land use chapter and specifically a change in the West Hyattsville Local Transit Center boundary from the previous draft. The boundary has been updated to reflect the addition and removal of certain rights-of-way. Additionally, several properties along Chilton Road have been returned to the center boundary, helping to ensure properties closest to the metro station remain within the center. These changes aim to encourage growth near metro while mitigating potential environmental impacts. Next slide, please. 2 new strategies have been added to the land use chapter under land use 3 to address environmental risk and fair development. One strategy proposes a comprehensive floodplain study that explores creating a floodplain overlay zone in the zoning ordinance. The second strategy recommends exploring a transfer of development rights program as a tool to redirect growth from sensitive areas to more appropriate areas. Next slide. Another major change is the future land use map. Notably, all single-family neighborhoods have been redesignated from residential medium to medium high, reflecting the push for more missing middle housing throughout the entire sector plan area. and leveraging the higher densities in an area that lies completely within the 10-minute bike shed to the metro station. Additionally, the Washington Gas Light Company property has been classified from institutional land use to mixed use, encouraging a diverse range of uses on the site. These updates are part of the plan's broader vision to promote higher density development near the station. Next slide, please. This slide is just for reference, but it shows the existing zoning before I get into the proposed zoning changes. Next slide. This slide outlines a major change in the proposed zoning for the area. The zoning for all residential single-family 65 areas have been replaced with residential single-family attached zone as is supported by the future land use map. This rezoning will allow for a more diverse range of housing types and allows for the construction of a house on a single 5,000 square foot lot, which is the predominant lot size in the community. Additionally, the Washington Gas Light Company property will be rezoned to local transit-oriented edge to support transit-oriented development and transition away from industrial uses. As you'll see late in the presentation, the change in the Washington Gas Light property prompts changes regarding upgrades to bike and pedestrian facility recommendations for Chilham Road and some intermediate design guidelines for the existing industrial uses. These zoning changes are reflected in the sectional map amendment as zoning changes 36, 37, and 38. Next slide, please. When it comes to transportation and mobility, the plan prioritizes the movement of people over vehicles by integrating active transportation facilities, attractive landscaping, and green infrastructure to improve multimodal travel along with stormwater management features. The plan also seeks to increase connectivity through pedestrian and bicycle networks, enhancing the 15-minute walk shed and the 10-minute bike shed, and supporting the county's Vision Zero efforts to eliminate traffic-related fatalities. Next slide. This slide highlights a major change in the transportation aspect of the plan. The transportation plan has been reconciled with the ongoing Go Prince George's functional plan, which involved updating street classification notations and making minor adjustments to the rights-of-way widths. A key change resulting from this update is the rezoning of the Washington Gas and Light property, which has led to the upgrade of Chilham Road from a neighborhood connector to a mixed-use boulevard. Next slide. This slide outlines a major change in the bicycle and pedestrian plan. The proposed T208 trail that went through the WMATA properties has been deleted following the request from the Parks Department due to extreme slopes and other physical challenges associated with that route. Additionally, the planned bike lanes, BL 200 on Jamestown Road, have been changed to a shared use path, RES 233. This adjustment was made to preserve the large mature trees along the road, ensuring that they're not affected by any potential right-of-way widenings that would be needed to install bike lanes. Next slide, please. Regarding economic prosperity, the plan still emphasizes supporting and promoting local businesses, including minority-owned businesses, while also enhancing commercial corridors to benefit both residents and visitors. No major changes were made to this plan element. Next slide. In terms of the natural environment, the plan still advocates for sustainable development with innovative green systems to address floodplain mitigation and aims to preserve and expand the tree canopy, creating a more comfortable and attractive environment while also supporting wildlife habitat and reducing the heat island effect. No major changes were made to this plan element. Next slide, please. In terms of housing and neighborhoods, the plan aims to increase the quantity, diversity, and affordability of the housing supply to support the initiative of housing opportunities for all throughout the sector plan area. Next slide. The housing and neighborhood section of the sector plan has been updated to place a stronger emphasis on anti-displacement and affordable housing. It has also been reorganized and expanded with new strategies, including recommending ongoing collaboration to continue developing anti-displacement strategies beyond the plan's adoption, connecting residents at risk of displacement with free legal assistance, supporting local advocacy groups that help renters address rent increases, and encouraging the adoption of right-to-return policies for residents affected by redevelopment. Additionally, it calls for partnering with nonprofit organizations to establish a community land trust to create and maintain permanently affordable housing through collective ownership. In response to the Maryland Housing Expansion Affordability Act, known as HB 538, the plan includes a new policy under HN4 to support increased housing density around the metro station for qualifying projects. Specifically, it allows a 30% density bonus for developments with at least 15% affordable housing units within 3/4 of a mile of the West Hyattsville metro station in certain zones. It also supports development of missing middle housing and single-family zones that meet location and affordability criteria. Next slide. Regarding community heritage, culture, and design, the plan seeks to establish community branding and multilingual wayfinding to celebrate the cultural diversity and history of the area while fostering a unique identity. It also encourages the integration of art in both public and private spaces to strengthen the sense of place. Next slide. This slide presents a major change with the addition of intermediate design recommendations under new policy HD 8 for the Washington Gas and Light properties. Specifically, if the industrial land uses are expanded or rebuilt on the site, the added guidelines call for native landscape buffers between non-residential uses, parking areas, and Shillong Road and the Stream Valley and residential areas. The plan also states that all redevelopment should comply with local and state floodplain regulations to minimize environmental impacts. And then lastly, the plan discourages the storage of liquid gas on site due to its proximity to homes and open space. Next slide. For healthy communities, the goal is to create an environment that supports safe walking and biking to key destinations and promoting non-automobile transportation options. The plan also emphasizes preserving senior housing and assisted living facilities while expanding programs to help residents age in place. There are no major changes to this plan element. Next slide, please. And then the last plan element, public facilities. The plan envisions a vibrant, transit-oriented development that encourages outdoor enjoyment, public gatherings, and healthy lifestyles. Next slide. This slide presents a major change in the public facilities section of the plan. The proposed Shillong Road Park expansion and Northwest Branch Stream Valley Park expansion have been removed from the plan to avoid the need for property acquisition of mostly private land. However, the plan still encourages the mitigation of sensitive environmental features, ensuring that environmental conservation is still a priority. Next slide, please. This slide provides a summary of key changes to the public facilities referral, all of which have already been mentioned. But just to quickly recap the changes, Trail TO8 was removed. The planned bike lanes on Jamestown Road have been recommended to change to shared use paths, and the expansion of Shillong Road Park and Northwest Branch Stream Valley Park have been removed. Next slide, please. This slide outlines the implementation timeline for the sector plan generally, broken down into short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Successfully implementing the plan will require agency and stakeholder efforts, ordinance changes, and budget initiatives, as well as the construction of capital improvement projects by multiple agencies. The plan will also rely on investment from property owners and developers in the community. It's also important that the concurrent sectional map amendment is approved to implement the recommended zoning. Next slide. Now let's take a look at the schedule. Today we're at permission to print. Next up will be the joint public hearing on the new draft, which is scheduled for July 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. We hope to have the planning board work session with adoption of the plan and endorsement of the SMA in September, followed by the district council work sessions in October, with a final approval date in November of this year. Next slide, please. All right. So today's request involves seeking permission to print the preliminary plan and sectional map amendment and to transmit copies of each to the county exec, all municipalities within or within 1 mile of the plan SMA area, and the health department. Additionally, we are requesting permission to transmit the public facilities report to the district council, county executive, and all municipalities within or abutting the plan SMA area. Next slide. That concludes that presentation, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Lester. Mr. Phelps?
Mr. Chairman and members of the planning board, Tony Phelps, for the record, Deputy Director and Chief of Community Planning. I wanted to welcome Justin Thornton. It's his first time before the planning board. He joins us most recently from the city of Laurel, and I'm happy to say he's a graduate of a university in my home state of Alabama, Oakwood University, as well as Georgetown University. So he's been with us for a couple of months, doing a great job. I just wanted to introduce him to you all.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Wow. I have to say, this feels like third time's the charm.
Yeah.
This feels like an award-winning plan. It just captures so many creative elements. Questions, again, thoughts, reactions?
I think the plan, I would really like to see it come to fruition, especially to look the way the photos are. Why, and perhaps I missed it, that they deleted T208, which was a trail through the metro property.
Yeah, so the Parks Department didn't like the alignment of that trail just because of the steep slopes. It's just it's a bad area. It's very difficult to build, and it wouldn't really be feasible.
Okay, thank you.
Most likely.
It's similar, I'm building on that question because my thought was around, you're eliminating that piece, that potential expansion. I'm sorry, that wasn't it. But in addition to that, there's the park expansion that you're deleting. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the trail system connectivity, and maybe there's a slide that you can show it's related to that. Talk through that just for a minute or two with Commissioner Giraldo's point, plus the park expansion is going away. I just want to get a flavor of what the system looks like.
Well, it depends on which segment we're referring to. So the greenway
Yes.
that would be, I guess, that would go just south of Northwest Branch. That would be the connection there. In terms of I guess, it's hard to do this without a map. I'm sorry.
We have one or we don't have one?
Yeah, I'm not sure what slide it's on.
27, I think.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. That's yeah. So I was just referring to Greenway segment B. So that would be a trail connection that creates the loop. That would be the Greenway, and that goes along Chilham Road, and then it turns down, as you can see, and crosses into the apartment complex. And then the other one, actually, if you could go to slide. Hold on.
18, Thomas.
Yes, 18. Can't see. So the trail that was deemed infeasible at this time is the one, there's that like green triangle in the middle of which is an existing undeveloped park. That's the one that would have provided a connection kind of between P223 you see, and then up to T217 or UM227. So that connection.
Hold that thought, because I'm having trouble tracking where you're looking at. I found T217. And what's the other one?
Okay. The other one would be, it would connect like between P223. In terms of connectivity of the area, like there's.
I don't see 223 either.
Yeah.
Oh, 243.
Maybe if somebody could use the cursor.
Yeah, it's a purple line that's west, like southwest.
Okay. Is the cursor there now?
Just 3-3.
Yeah, this way.
Tony's a cursor.
Okay.
Right here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
If I say now.
So that original trail that was proposed there would have basically provided an extra connection between those two. However, there are alternative routes to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you would have to go up like 19th and then turn to UM227, or you could go up UM207 and then turn on 217.
It sounds like you've been working in close collaboration with our Department of Parks and Recreation around this as well.
Yeah, in terms of the development of the plan, definitely.
Excellent.
Feedback.
You also mentioned nonprofits. How were they identified and what was the involvement of nonprofits?
So that we didn't contact any of the nonprofits that were proposed for some of those policies, but that kind of information is put into the implementation matrix. It's usually kept kind of general, especially with like nonprofits, because there's so many. But yeah, so for the specific or the reference that I was making earlier, no specific nonprofit was called out in the.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, though. I wonder if there's some, with all the other work you have to do, I wonder if there's some value in some kind of special reach out to nonprofits in the area to educate them about the plan and also maybe even get a little feedback. And it could be a way to build some momentum and support for it too. And, that'd be in that area, that'd be pretty easy to identify some of the lead organizations.
Yeah, I don't know the history of the projects because I came on board kind of late. I would imagine, and Tony, you can probably support me with this, but that there probably was some sort of public outreach that involved nonprofit organizations.
That was part of the previous outreach and some of the earlier versions of the plan. And to your point, as we move forward with plan implementation, we'll be reaching out to those implementing agencies, including the nonprofits, to see where we can find those synergies and make sure the plan becomes a reality.
I'm even thinking maybe this is, the politician in me, but imagine if some of these sort of active nonprofits in the area really got the value of what we're proposing and can even be advocating for the plan.
Absolutely.
I think in that area, isn't the housing partnership in that area?
They're right there.
Right.
CASA's right there. There's
CASA's
probably,
there.
half a dozen other broadly defined housing organizations. So, okay, that's great. Good, appreciate it. Other thoughts, questions? Okay, this is an action item. Is there a motion? I'm sorry, there was somebody who signed up to speak, but I don't think we have anyone who's looking to speak on this.
He's not here, Mr. Lacy.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to grant permission to print the third version of the preliminary plan for the West Hyattsville, Queens Chapel SMA.
Second.
I'm second, please.
I need to be a little more specific.
You can read the whole statement.
Requires a second as well as I move that we grant staff permission to print the preliminary West Hyattsville Queens Chapel sector plan and propose sectional map amendment, the third version, and transmit the public facilities to the district council, county executive, towns of University Park, Brentwood, cities of Mount Rainier, Hyattsville, and transmit a copy of the preliminary West Hyattsville Queens Chapel sector plan and propose SMA to the health department to perform a health impact assessment.
Now second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Giraldo, a second by Vice Chair Bailey. With no discussion, I will call the roll. Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 3-0. Well done, team. This is feels like real progress.
Yeah.
Ms. Connor, any further business before us?
No further business.
Okay, with that, without objection, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.